While Nashville Predators fans want to see this team get younger, on today's show, we're going to tell you why veteran Ryan O'Reilly is going to be critical to the team's success next season. We're going to talk factor and preview tonight's matchup against the Utah Hockey Club on today's episode.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy game day, everyone. Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off this Thursday, this game day episode, shouting out our Locked On Predators insiders and, of course, our everydayers who tune in to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us. I'm Ann Kimmel. I am a writer and co-host with Penalty Box Radio. And my friends, I have a partner in crime.
That you do. I am Emma Lingan, and I'm the Predators site editor and reporter for the Hockey News.
We have needed a partner in crime to get through this season. There have been a couple of moments where Emma and I were so hockey frustrated. It was like misdemeanor / hinging on a felony. But the Predators are coming off of just a glowing 7-6 overtime win tonight. They're back on the road for the last time they are facing the Utah Hockey Club. Later in this episode, we're going to preview that game, tell you what we want to see from the Nashville Predators, and if we think this could be a windfall of 2 games in a row, friends, or if that's just way too much to expect. Look at that. But we do want to talk about one particular Nashville Predator veteran on today's show. We know that the aim of this team is to get younger. The Preds have a lot of veterans. We are going to lay out for you just exactly why one of those veterans, Ryan O'Reilly, is critical to this team's success. We are also going to talk about a very interesting trajectory for him potentially next season. Emma, Ryan O'Reilly, just gotta love him. The factor, all these nicknames, yada, yada, yada. Was talking to Zach LaRue for an article that's coming out. And one of the things that he mentioned is that the person that he feels like he has learned maybe the most from in the locker room this season, Ryan O'Reilly. He's like, that's the guy you watch. And I think that is one of those things that you frame up everything you're going to say about Ryan O'Reilly on the ice and his age and his stats and where he should play, where he does play, by saying Zachary LaRue watches Ryan O'Reilly as a new rookie in the NHL. And that's kind of it's an important point to make as we dive into on ice information for Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they keep him, not the only reason they keep Ryan O'Reilly around, but that's a big part of it. You know, when you're looking at the season that Nashville had, and then at the trade deadline, when people are like, Barry Trotz, how, like, when Ryan O'Reilly probably has some of the most trade value of anyone on your team, why would you not trade him when this season is already in the tank? Like, why wouldn't you trade him? Because, you know, it's not like you're trying to compete for a playoff spot at this point. That's why. That's why they were treating him as if he had trade protection that he did not have. Again, I think if Barry got an offer that he couldn't refuse from a team that O'Reilly was willing to go to, then that might have been different. But that would have had to be like the perfect marriage of circumstances. Yes. And I just don't know how realistic that would have been. But no, like, if he doesn't want to go anywhere, he's not going anywhere. And that's why, because it's not just about what he does on the ice, as you said, it's about how, you know, building a team and building a culture. Yes, you want to bring up young players in that culture, but you need the right guys there to establish it. And Ryan O'Reilly is one of those guys.
Yeah, and that was a big thing for Barry Trotz when he came in. Like, he did what he felt like he needed to do to reset the culture. And I'm not going to dive into those decisions that he made, but he made decisions based on I want to reset the culture. One of those things was bringing in Gus Nyquist and Ryan O'Reilly. Also want to point out, it was announced recently, he's the King Clancy nominee. That's the King Clancy Memorial Trophy, which is a lot to say at this hour of the morning. But it is an award given annually to the NHL player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice and made a significant humanitarian contribution to his community. Pekka Rinne actually won this for the Nashville Predators, my friends, back in 2020, 2021 for his work with the 365 fund that he and Shea Weber started together for Monroe Carroll. Ryan O'Reilly, of course, has the Mighty Roar program, which I think is so fun. We see this, Emma and I see this every home game. They honor a young person, and kind of the setup for his initiative is recognizing Middle Tennessee youth who display courage, compassion, leadership, perseverance, and respect. And this is something that he started back in St. Louis. And when he came to Nashville, he was like, hey, I really want to kickstart this initiative here. Of course, they love doing that. So, off the ice, Ryan O'Reilly, I don't think anybody who is around the team, who has been around the players, who listens to what the players say, can doubt the value of Ryan O'Reilly off of the ice this season. Let's talk about on the ice, because that may be a different conversation. I think people look at it one perspective: numbers, stats, age, value. Other people look at it a little bit differently. This season, 75 games played, 18 goals, 46 points. Last season, he played all 82 games. He's a freaking workhorse. This guy is a workhorse. 26 goals, 69 points. It was his second best season last season, behind his cup winning year. What worked last season that didn't work this season, Emma? And I know this is a little existential question. This is also off season that we're going to wrestle with. But when it specifically comes to Ryan O'Reilly, what worked and what didn't work last season versus this season?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. I think part of it is, and I, at this point, we've talked about this before, I will not even pretend to know that it's just one or two specific things. Like, aha, yes, this is why this worked and it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
For one, I think maybe a little bit of a boost coming in, new team, new environment, new teammates. He was somewhere he wanted to be after signing in free agency. I think, he ends up getting consistency with Philip Forsberg and Gus Nyquist. Remember him?
Oh my gosh.
Feels like he's been gone for years.
Swedish meatballs. I feel like it's been forever since we talked about Ryan O'Reilly and his Swedish meatballs. It's so sad.
And that was one where, like, at first we thought, well, why are you putting these three veterans on the top line together, not mixing in some of the younger talent? But then it ended up being one of the most productive lines, not just it was far and away the most productive line for Nashville, but it was one of the most productive lines in the league. And they were just really feeding off of each other. And, coming into this season, I think we said, or at least I said, you don't break up that line until they give you a reason to. And I think we saw a little bit of the line blender from Andrew Brunette, the really quick, itchy trigger finger there. Like, oh my gosh, they went one game without a point. Let's tear it all down.
It's broken. Yeah.
So, and then, you have the additions of Stamkos and Marchessault, and you want to find the right places for them. And I understand that, but I don't know. I think it was just the consistency that was part of it. That's like all I can really point to at this point, is that they, that's what makes a good and productive line, is they know where the other guys are going to be at all times. They don't have to think about it. They can just do, don't think, just do. And you make the pass, or you dump the puck and you know where the guy's going to be. And this is not specific to him, to Ryan O'Reilly or anyone. This is just something that's been a problem for the entire Predators team this year, is they just don't have that consistency.
Mm-hmm. I think consistency is going to be one of the biggest things that is talked about when it comes to autopsying this season, because you and I talked about this way back in training camp, talking about that O'Reilly, Forsberg, and Nyquist line. They looked great in training camp. They picked up where they had left off, and you immediately lose 5 games and they are gone. Ne'er to be seen together again in the same place, kind of like me and Batman. Like, it just never happened again. And I agree with you. I think that has to be one of the biggest potential factors in Ryan O'Reilly's season. Coming up, we're going to talk about another factor when it comes to factor, and that has to do with where he plays. It's not just about who he plays with, but we're going to talk about where he plays. Is it the right place? And what do the Nashville Predators do next season? We'll talk about that coming up.
Do you have trouble sleeping? If so, you're not alone. That used to be me, lacking rest, tossing and turning. I was late for meetings. I never felt like myself. That's until I found Bare Mattress. Bare Mattress and their sleep recovery technology helped me fall asleep faster, as well as enjoy deeper sleeps. I felt like myself again, and you can too. Bare Mattress knows that every sleeper is different. That's why they have their sleep quiz on their website that finds you your perfect match. As a side sleeper, I matched with the Elite Hybrid mattress, and I've been telling everyone in my life they have to try Bare Mattress risk-free. You can sleep on your Bare Mattress up to 120 nights, and if you're not getting the best sleep of your life, you can get it refunded. They'll pick it up with absolutely no hassle. So go to bearmattress.com and use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout to get 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com. Use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
All right, Emma, we're talking about Ryan O'Reilly today. Talked about did not have consistent line mates so much this season. The other thing that I think is a big discussion is something you and I have talked about before. I don't think that this is something that isn't probably the general consensus. Ryan O'Reilly is playing the role of the 1C. He is the Nashville Predators elite centerman, as people believe every NHL team has. That is not necessarily where you want Ryan O'Reilly playing. And that is not a criticism of him. That is, if you are a contending team, a seriously contending team, when you look at a player like Ryan O'Reilly, who, let's be honest, yes, I know what you're going to say. He's old. Age is not a disease. But he is not probably the player that you pencil in as this is the 1C that's going to get us to the Stanley Cup Finals. He is more ideally like a middle 6 center kind of guy. Nashville doesn't have other options right now. Is that something that's going to change next season? Is it realistic to think that Ryan O'Reilly is going to start next season anywhere else other than 1C for this team? What would it take?
Well, it would take trading for another established elite 1C. I think, looking at, like you said, they really don't have other options. Yes, there's Stamkos, sort of, but again, I like him better on the wing. I think he does better on the wing for what this team needs him for. I think you've got Svechkov, who is, really coming into his own, I think, this year, and it's good to see. I still don't think he's a 1C, and I don't know that he ever will be. I think that he is the 2C of the future for Nashville. I really do. Yeah. And I think in the meantime, while you have Ryan O'Reilly, he's the one that you put on the top line. Because who else do you have? Colton Sissons, again, bottom 6 center. And I mean no disrespect by that. It's just that is where his skill set, best suits him. So And then who else? Michael McCarron. Yeah. Fourth line center. I just don't think that, like you said, they really have any other options. Now, let's say that they go and they get James Higgins in the draft. Great. You have an elite center. He's still not an NHL 1C,
Thank you.
especially the way that this team and this coaching staff tends to handle younger players. They are not going to just throw him to the wolves immediately.
Mhm.
So I think if we're just talking about where does Ryan O'Reilly start the season next year, it's 1C.
It's 1C. And for people who feel like, and I get the argument, you have so much draft capital, Barry Trotz, you have so much draft capital. And the truth is that Nashville is going to have to move some defensemen. I think they're going to have to make some moves there. I think there may be some offensive pieces that Barry Trotz would be willing to part with too. Could he put together a package that is going to bring in a centerman? Yes. Could Barry Trotz truly put together a package with draft capital, with, pieces of an actual hockey ready trade, prospects, to tempt away a 1C from another team? I just don't think so. Like, I think that would be such a cool, because here is what's real, and it's frustrating, but it's what's real. Yes, you want that elite 1C. You want that top centerman. You need that in a lot of ways to be a team that can contend. They don't grow on trees. They are elite. They're not regular 1Cs. And I think this is a really tricky problem to solve. And it's a conversation that is going to lead into, in the offseason, into draft discussions, because, you mentioned Higgins, Michael Misa. There are some pieces in the draft, if Nashville gets a high enough slot in the draft lottery, that are worth discussing. But like you said, there is not a player in this draft, regardless of where the Nashville Predators finish, even if they get the number 1 overall pick, there's not a piece in this draft that you would draft and go, welcome to the NHL. In September, you're our 1C. We'd like to introduce you to Philip Forsberg. Like, this is tough. And so you are looking at Ryan O'Reilly starting the season as a 1C, which leads into the next question that you wrestle with when you look at Ryan O'Reilly. And that is that next season is the last season on his current contract with the Nashville Predators. If the Predators are in contention, if they are, and I know it's hard to wrap our minds around this because you don't even want to put it out there after what happened this year, the whole debacle. But if the Predators are in contention for a postseason spot, Ryan O'Reilly has a lot of trade value at the trade deadline. We saw it this season. Next season, he's going to be a UFA. After that, do you trade Ryan O'Reilly and get something back? Or do you hang on to him and say, you know what, we're just going to see what we get with Ryan O'Reilly on the roster in a postseason opportunity and miss out on the chance to get a return for Ryan O'Reilly? What do you do with him at the trade deadline? I think it's a pretty easy question if the Predators are where they are now. If the Predators can't even sniff the postseason, you're going to trade probably Ryan O'Reilly. If O'Reilly, like you said, if there is a situation that is amenable to them, because again, this is the guy that you want on your team if you're going to make a postseason run. He's been there. He's done it. He's won the Conn Smythe. But what if Nashville is in contention, Emma? Then what do you do?
I mean, I think if you're Barry Trotz, you keep him. I don't see that changing.
Would you keep him? I mean, I think you're right. I think Barry Trotz will keep him. Do you think it's the right general manager move?
If this team is in a position to potentially make a deep playoff run, yes, I think it's the right decision.
Okay.
If they are, even if they're on the bubble of like, we might make the playoffs, and if we do, we're just going to barely sneak in, kind of like they did last year, then I don't know that it's the right move to keep him, but I still think that Barry will.
Barry would. Yeah.
Yeah. And But if you are like firmly in the playoffs at this point and positioned to make a deep run, then I say, yeah, that's a no-brainer. You keep him.
If they're firmly in a position for the postseason, it's going to be because Ryan O'Reilly has been doing some stuff. Not single-handedly, let's be clear, but he is going to be a part of success that the team has that is good enough to get them to the postseason.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's my other question. Ryan O'Reilly, is he going to sign another contract after next year, Emma? Let's say the Predators get, just hypothetical. I know it's hard to even go there right now with our broken and bitter hearts, but let's just say the Nashville Predators make the postseason next season. And let's say, I mean, just for poops and giggles, they make it to the second round and come out in the second round just because, why not have a goal? Does Ryan O'Reilly come back? He'll be 36 years old at the end of the 2026 season. Do the Nashville Predators re-sign Ryan O'Reilly to a 1-year deal, to a 2-year deal? When I watch Ryan O'Reilly, there is nothing about him that gives off a whiff of retirement.
No.
Not even a hint of a sniff of retirement.
No. I think, again, all purely hypothetical and very circumstance dependent. I think that I could see it happening on like a 1-year deal. Barry Trotz is the kind of guy that likes to do right by his players. And I think that if Ryan O'Reilly is forthcoming about like, hey, I want to be here, I still want to be here next year, then I could see that happening for sure. But I also could see, with just like the reputation he has around the league, I could also see other teams wanting to sign him to a 1-year deal. So I think if he, if he really wants to be in Nashville, I think Barry will make that happen. If he just wants to play, then I don't think that Nashville should engage in a bidding war with other teams to re-sign him.
Yeah.
Just at his age. Again, age is not a disease. It's not that he is, deteriorating in any way. I just think that it's for the overall vision of this team. And like you said earlier, wanting to get younger and wanting to sort of develop. At that point, you have players who you have developed through your system. And I think that as long as Ryan O'Reilly is there, he is going to be used as a bit of a safety net. And that's fine for where this team is right now. I think that's a good thing. But when it gets to the point where you need to start putting those younger players in more elevated roles, then he kind of transforms from being a safety net into being a crutch, and that's what you don't want. And so I think that it's going to be a delicate balance as far as the timing and when you move on from him. But again, I think it's going to be almost entirely dependent on where this team is in the standings next year.
I would agree with that. I think it's great to have him here. Like you said, he is a safety net, but you also have to make sure that the veterans are not taking spots that younger players need to develop at this level. And like you said, it is a delicate balance. Barry Trotz has a needle to thread in a number of ways. This is just one of them, the use of the veterans compared to the development of the youth. We're going to have to watch that unfold next season. But friends, this season is still not over yet. Tonight, the Nashville Predators head to Utah. They are taking on the Utah Hockey Club. I feel like they should be the Utah Yetis, but nobody's asking me. We're going to preview that matchup coming up, and we're going to share our keys to that game. If you are looking for a snack that is delicious and nutritious, we want you to crack into a great source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein. It gives you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I personally am the no shells variety kind of girl. It's a great grab and go snack for very busy days. Whether I am sitting here at my desk trying to snack and get some work done, whether I am driving down to Bridgestone Arena in my car and I just hit that point where I know I need a little bit of protein, it's a great go-to snack. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell option is a classic favorite. Get cracking and get snacking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Emma, I know that we're just still kind of lingering on that quote unquote high from a 7-6 overtime win. It was a crazy game on Tuesday night. Tonight, the Nashville Predators off to Utah. They are facing the Utah Hockey Club on the road. This is not the final time they will see them. Utah will come here next week for the last week of the season. Utah is 36-30-12 overall. They are 6-3-1 in their last 10. What could possibly go wrong? Been very interesting season for Utah. They are basically out of the wild card spot unless something kind of catastrophic happens for a couple of other teams ahead
They've
of them.
actually been officially eliminated.
Have they been officially?
As of yesterday.
Okay. I looked yesterday and I was like, they don't have the E for explicit. That's not what it means. It means
No,
eliminated
last night,
in my mind.
They lost last night, and now I forget to whom, but that loss officially eliminated them. So they're officially out now.
They're officially out. They've been kind of a fun team to watch. Of course, they are the artists formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes. Clayton, Keller, beloved Connor Ingram. He is away from the Utah Hockey Club right now, but of course, Nashville Predators fans know Connor Ingram very well. Here is what terrifies me the most as I look at this game, Emma. In their last 5 games, the Utah Hockey Club, which we've got to workshop that, friends, but Utah Hockey Club in their last 5 games has scored 21 goals. They are 4-1 in their last 5 games. I would like to introduce you to the Nashville Predators defense, who is still trying to get to know each other because they are new. Nashville has scored only 14 goals in the last 5 games. That includes that big old 7-goal overtime fiesta we had on Tuesday. This is a Utah team that can score some goals, and they have been doing it recently. And one of the ways that they are so effective has been puck movement, especially down low. This is a team that finds and targets and executes well these like low cross ice passes, that finds that backdoor open net shot. They really pressure defenses with their puck movement. And again, I would like to introduce you to the Nashville Predators defense, which is pieced together with duct tape and a dream and Brady Shea. This is what terrifies me about this game tonight, Emma.
Duct tape and a dream. I love it. I don't even know if duct tape might be too, maybe like scotch tape and a dream.
Old scotch tape.
Yeah.
Old scotch tape. Reused scotch tape and a dream.
Yeah.
And Brady Shea.
Ugh. And Brady Shea.
And Brady Shea.
Oh, God bless. Yeah. I think, if we're talking about keys to the game, you need to shut down particularly that top line for Utah with Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther. Those are 3 dynamic young players. They are all scoring threats, or at least, especially when they're together. I just think that if you can shut down that line effectively, you give yourself a much better chance. Not saying that they don't have any scoring threats down the lineup, but I do think that they are at this stage sort of a top heavy team.
Yes.
And offensively. And so I think that will be a key. I think defensively, They actually, Utah, I feel like doesn't get enough love. I think defensively, I think that they're actually a really, really solid, deep defensive core. I mean, they've got obviously Mikhail Sergachev, who they got in the offseason. On top, you've got
Yes.
Ian Cole, Oli Mata, guys who are, really sort of your traditional meat and potatoes shutdown defensemen, kind of bringing up the bottom four of that defensive core. So I think they're not going to be easy to score on either. But yeah, again, it is just the perfect storm of awful. If
Yeah.
you're looking at the Nashville Predators defense against that Clayton Keller line, like, oh gosh,
Brutal.
I'm gonna be watching from, like between my fingers
Sort of
because it's
watching.
yeah.
It has the potential to be tough. Clayton Keller, there is something about him where I am haunted by him. And I looked up some stats because I'm like, this is one of those, is this, feelings are like farts. Like, is this really, should we really be this afraid? Should I feel this really afraid of Clayton Keller, or do I just imagine it? He's played 19 games against Nashville in his career. He has 22 points in 19 games. He does okay against Nashville, friends. You mentioned Dylan Gunther, who is all of 14 and a half and has a membership at GameStop, if anything. Like, he is just a young sprout. He is the story of the season for Utah. 9th overall pick in 2021. He has 26 goals. He has 56 points. You saw the potential last season, but he has just stepped on to the main stage, like you said, on that top line this year. And he is just purely unbiased. He is so fun to watch. This kid is really fun to watch. So I agree with you. I think that top line is just the thing that nightmares are made of when you have a defense held together by reused Scotch tape, a dream, and Brady Shea. It's a little bit terrifying for me. So I think you're going to need really good goaltending. Yes, you are going to need the defense to be very good, but whoever is in net, whether it is Saros, I'm guessing it'll be Saros because we saw Anand on Tuesday, need a good game. And I think another topic for the off season, I think that we have not seen Saros's best season this season, but he is a goaltender who, if he is on, could be the difference between a win and a loss in this game for the Nashville Predators. Goaltending is going to be huge, I think, in this game.
Yeah. Carl Vamelka for
Oh,
Utah as well. He's been
bless.
unreal this year. And so I think that if we see him in net, then that's also going to be goaltending could end up being huge. I would, loop that in with the defense. Defense and goaltending, I think, is going to be what could decide this game, honestly.
I would love to see Steven Stamkos too continue on his goal scoring streak. I would really like to see him finish this season being able to walk out going, man, that season was a hot mess, but I found it at the end of the year. So I would love to see Steven Stamkos kind of keep rolling too. This is an 8:00 Central Time puck drop. This is a road game. Thank goodness it is not a 9:00 one. We got one of them coming up later. 8 p.m. puck drop tonight. Nashville Predators taking on the Utah Hockey Club. Also want to throw out there, I believe, and I should have double checked this before I sat down in front of a microphone, but I believe Aiden Fink and the Penn State Nittany Lions, baby, are playing their semifinal game in the Frozen Four tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Double check that. Friends, you do not want to miss Aiden Fink, and we are all Penn State fans right now, just to be clear on what's happening.
We
Penn
are.
State. We are Penn State. That's their cheer. Love it. So lots of good hockey coming up tonight. On tomorrow's show, Emma and I are going to recap whatever we see unfold tonight in Utah with the Nashville Predators and the Utah Hockey Club. We're going to tell you what is coming up this weekend for the Nashville Predators, friends. Buckle up. We going to Vegas, baby. I don't know that we're going to be super lucky, but we'll talk about that on tomorrow's show as well. Emma, before we log off for today's show, will you let everyone know where they can find you and your work?
Yes, you can find me watching this game, both of these next two games, from between my fingers. on my couch. You can find me on social media at Emma_Lingan, and you can find my work at the Hockey News.
You can find me watching some Penn State men's hockey tonight in my Saquon Barkley jersey because I haven't gotten myself a Penn State men's hockey jersey yet. Also, their women's team, freaking fabulous as well. And then, of course, I'll be watching the Nashville Predators game from my couch with my dog. You can find my work online with Penalty Box Radio. You can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on ice as well. That's going to do it for this episode of the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We hope you guys have a great Thursday, a great game day. We'll be back tomorrow to recap what we saw. We'll see you then.